As a recruiter, you must be the one driving the conversation. How do you do that? Check out this video right now and I'll show you. Hey, welcome to the Millionaire Recruiter. I'm Brianna Rooney, your Millionaire Recruiter. If you have not seen this channel before, it's all about upping your game in the recruiting industry. So let's just get right to it. Let's drive this conversation. You ready for this? Choo-choo! I cracked myself up. Okay, so how are you going to drive it? As a recruiter, you always have to have your agenda. You always need to know what you're getting out of this conversation. So because we have to work in high urgency, we have lots of things to do, lots of things on our plates. What we're doing for the company is one of the most important things that any company does. So you have to have your agenda and there's no wasting time. You have to know why you're having every single conversation, whether it's on the phone, whether it's via text, whether it's email, LinkedIn, whatever you're doing, you are driving the conversation. How do you do that? Well, you have to give a little to get a lot. So a lot of recruiters, this kills me. I would love to look at every recruiter's LinkedIn message box personally. But a lot of recruiters think that, again, we are doing a great job and we are doing it for free essentially. Sometimes with the candidates we're doing it for free. But it doesn't matter. We still have to nurture that relationship and build it because there's tons of recruiters they can go with, tons of companies hiring. You have to be the one that they want to talk to, which means you have to make it really easy for them. And the way to do that is to give them information. Give them whatever, like let's say they have a couple questions, you answer those couple questions, then you ask your 2 questions. What you don't want to do is overwhelm anyone. So a lot of recruiters will say let's say they have 5 questions they need answers to in order to get this person a hiring manager. Well, a recruiter thinks, well, why wouldn't I just ask my 5 questions immediately and get it done? Well, that's all fine and dandy, except guess what? If you're on your phone, remember most LinkedIn traffic, 80% of it is on their mobile. So you're on your mobile and you're seeing 5 questions to answer and you're at work and you don't want to spend a lot of time on your phone because you don't want work to think you're spending a lot of time on your phone. Even if it's remote, it's still like inside people to I don't want to get caught, right? So answering a lot of questions, especially when it's just like your little thumbs, takes a while. So what you want to do is make it easy for them. Here's 2 questions. Here's 1 question. And then you're continuing to drive the conversation in the direction that you want. And you're going to be very strategic with it because you're going to ask the questions that you absolutely need the answers to. So lots of times, I'll have hiring managers that say, hey, I need at least these 2 or 3 questions answered. We can move them forward. I just eventually need these answers. Lots of times that's what's great too, is because you can start the process with the candidate, even though yes, you're gonna have a better conversation with them. You're still driving it to move quickly. If urgency is on point and this is a really amazing candidate that you just know is gonna get bombarded, yeah, sure. Just ask the little ones. But the point is that you're the one that's driving it and that you're the one that's giving them what they want. So a lot of recruiters think, oh, I'm not going to tell the candidate all about the position because they're going to apply themselves. Does that happen? Sometimes. But it's very, very, very rare. A lot of candidates understand the game, understand that you as a recruiter, you are what gets them to the front of the line. You're think of it, you're at a nightclub, you know the bouncer, you're in, you don't have to wait in line. That's what a recruiter does. But they need to know that you do that. So that's another way to drive that conversation. So what I'm gonna say is, hey, so-and-so, thanks so much for getting back to me. Love your resume. I'm gonna get you in front of the hiring manager. So just by that line is, I'm gonna get you in front of the hiring manager. That should show the candidate that I'm the way to the hiring manager. I've already said I am the one that decides if you go to the hiring manager. So I'm already giving them that little bit of information. Now I'm going to sell a little bit more and say, hey, you know what? Would love to tell you more about Google, but here's a couple of snippets. Go ahead and look at this job and make sure that this is on point for you. Otherwise, I can send you something else. Or if you see something else that's a better fit, let me know. But regardless, I think you're great for this and I want to send you to the hiring manager. So you see how I'm still giving them information to look up, but I'm still telling them what we're going to do. And what we're going to do is I'm getting them to the hiring manager. So another thing, back to the agenda, is we're going to get answers and we're going to stay on track. So when you are doing your prelim, your intake call, recruiter phone screen, whatever you call it, there's just too many words now. But you want to then stay on track. Now, I'm not just reading off of my script to get all of my answers. No, but I can't have a story after every single thing. Or I can't let them have a story after every single thing they answered. Yes, you want to build a relationship, but I think you can build a pretty strong relationship in 10 to 15 minutes. Some say 5. I think that's a little fast for someone's career, but you can definitely build it and still get all the questions answered in 15 minutes. And so if you have your agenda on point, like basically you know all the questions you need answered or all the things you need covered, doesn't always have to be answers, but all the things you have to be covered, you're kind of checking them off while you're talking to them. You're crossing them out. You have them on your screen as you highlighted them. Whatever way you want to hold yourself accountable to the agenda, just make sure you're getting those answers and you're staying on track. Lots of times recruiters will have such a great conversation with someone. They're not driving the conversation, but it's just a great conversation that they get off the phone and they're like, oh my God, I didn't even get salary expectations. What? That's like one of the biggest ones, you know? So what do? You get back on the phone, you call them. So you can always fix things, but in order to drive the conversation, you have to stay on track. Another great way to do that is, and to get actual real information with people, is to ask open-ended questions. So you never really want to ask questions that's just like a yes or no. You want to ask the ones that can really, pique their interest, their passion. So a good example of that was, hey, why are you looking to leave Facebook? That is open-ended. However, a lot of people that don't have the conversation skills might just say, oh, well, you messaged me and Google sounded like a good idea. Did that person answer the question? No. Google's not the answer. So you want to go back and you say, okay, well, I'm super glad you're interested in Google. Then why are you interested in Google? So I don't necessarily have to go back to Facebook at that moment. I'm going to ask about the why from Google, because sometimes the why they want a position is super powerful than leaving their position. But I'm still going to get back to Facebook and I'm going to say, hey, I know you said that you're just really interested in Google because of XYZ. So you see how I'm recapping what they said so they hear it too? A lot of people don't pay attention to what they say. So I'm recapping it with them, but then I'm going to say back to Facebook really quickly. I mean, obviously it's easier to stay at Facebook, right? You'd be like, yeah, no, I get you. So what is it that Google can do, or what is it throughout this interview process, something can happen that would actually cause you to leave Facebook? There has to be a reason why you don't want to stay at Facebook. What is that reason? So that's not only asking open-ended questions, but it's also digging as well in order to drive the conversation in the way that you want it. And the way that you wanted it for that particular moment is to know why they would leave Facebook. So there's different journeys to get there, but you still have to get on track and get those answers. That's how you drive it. And then last but not least, have a backup plan. Have I talked to people that for whatever reason, there is just no conversation going, like it's just, we're not gelling, they're not digging me, I'm not digging them, who knows, maybe they're super shy, maybe I didn't eat my Wheaties, I don't know. But you always have to have a backup plan. So you have your agenda, you're staying on track, but then you also have 3 questions that you know, because you've seen it before, everyone always likes answering. Everyone always likes conversating about. So a good example of that is I'm gonna be like, hey, you know what, are you going to do anything for the summer? Are you going on vacation anywhere? Ding, 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 ding. Who doesn't want to talk about vacation? I want to talk about vacation. How much time do you got? Oh, wrong one. How much time do you got? But so that's the backup plan. So worst comes to worst, how are you going to build a relationship with your backup plan? You're driving it. You're asking open-ended questions. You're having that agenda. You're staying on track and getting your answers, and you're going to give a little and you're going to get a lot. Believe me, I've done it for a really long time. You're driving that conversation. You're not then asking at the end, so do you have any questions for me? That's not driving the conversation. Driving it means you are putting the conversation exactly where you need it to go on your agenda and be efficient about it. Now you're still giving all those warm fuzzies, but you're still efficient about the conversation, which means you are paying attention to your time and you're respecting theirs as well. And that's super important as a recruiter. So get it done. There's a science to this. Speaking of a science to this, there is a science to this training. So whether or not you're watching these YouTube channels, thank you so much. Definitely love all, like the comments, the questions, following us on Instagram now, which is super cool. Social media, baby. But the real reason why I'm super out there, not only via Thriversity with the training, but it's because my mission has always been to have the world view recruiting and respect recruiting and make the recruiting world a better place, a better industry, a better path. It's already a great career path for everyone, but now we need to have that respect. It needs to be a drop down when you're applying for a mortgage, and it's not a drop down as an industry. What the heck? Anyways, I'm tangenting. But thank you so much. And if you have any subjects also for the podcast, for the Talent Takeover Unfiltered with Taylor Bradley, I would love to hear them. We love shooting the shit. You want to be a guest? Put it right here. Click down here. Absolutely sign up. I want to hear what you have to say. I want to be controversial about it. I want to talk about things people are scared to talk about, because the more we talk about it, the more we learn, right? Cool. So I will see you every Thursday at noon. And never forget, the money is just a vessel to do all the amazing things you want to go do in life. Go live it. Rock the recruiting.